Hello there, friends, and welcome to the Hopeful Homeschooling Podcast, where we offer homeschool help, hope, and humor. I am Kelly Warner with Hope in the Chaos, and I am so excited that you are joining me today. Whether you are folding laundry, driving your kids around to practices or co-ops, or perhaps hiding in our closet for 5 minutes of quiet, I am so humbled that you decided to press play on today's episode. Now, for the last couple of weeks, friends, we have been talking about the dreaded February slump. You know, that mid-year heavy fatigue dread that has us wondering if we're doing enough, if we should continue homeschooling, if we need to consider putting our kids in public school or back in public school. And we've exhausted that, right? We talked about the Valentines, right? Five Valentines. Just ways to know that you're doing right. And then, of course, last week's episode, we talked directly about 5 ways to overcome the February slump. And today, I want to take that conversation one step further because here's the truth, friend. Your homeschool will only grow as much as you do. And so, Mama, you have to be learning. As important as it is for you to be teaching your children and guiding them through their educational journey, you need to be learning as well. Okay. We talk about curriculum all the time. We talk about learning styles. We talk about what our kids need. But, friend, I've got to ask, when was the last time that you intentionally invested in your own growth as a homeschooler? Okay, and I'm gonna ask that question again because if you're multitasking, you may have just let that one slip by you, right? So when was the last time that you, homeschool mama, intentionally invested in your growth as a homeschool parent? And now I'm not talking just scrolling Instagram or panic Googling curriculum reviews, right? I'm talking about when was the last time you sat down intentionally with a piece of material that stretches your thinking, strengthens your confidence, and reminds you why you started homeschooling. Something that will encourage you to continue homeschooling and perhaps help you break through some sort of stumbling block or just hardship in your homeschool. Growing as a homeschool mom is vital because it's going to help you build your confidence. It's going to replace the fears that are growing inside with conviction. Growing as a homeschool mom will help you lead your family rather than reacting to pressure or the newest chaotic environment, right? And it's going to remind you what you are capable of. Now, what is the best way that you can grow as a homeschool mom? Well, friend, it's the same way that I teach you to homeschool, right? And it's through books. Books that will strengthen your vision as a homeschooler, right? Books that encourage you and guide you, that encourage you. I think I said that already, right? Um, Books that inspire you to move forward, to try something new, to be brave in your homeschool journey, and to dig deep with resolve when things get tough. Now, I have an entire blog post already on the website, right, of the best books for homeschool moms. And I'll drop a link in the show notes so you can go and read through that. But today I want to highlight a few of them that are currently on my own shelves. These are the books that I personally own, the ones that I took my own cash and went to my favorite bookstore and bought. Do any of them? Oh, yep. Some of them have the thrift books because I am not above buying used, right? Um, these are the books that I read and reread that impacted my homeschool journey so much. I was willing to invest my own dollars, right? And so we're just going to take a few minutes. This is going to be a quick overview. I will link to each book in the show notes. And I'm going to encourage you as a mom to dig through them. So up first, we have Anyone Can Homeschool by Nikki Truesdale. This book is a practical, no-nonsense guide that is deeply encouraging. All right, within the pages of this book, Nikki dismantles the idea that you need a teaching degree, a perfect structure. You don't need any of that, and you can still homeschool successfully without them. She makes the case that parents are uniquely qualified to educate their own children. And she has the amazing perspective being a second generation homeschooler. Nikki homeschooled her children, but she was a first generation homeschooler back when the the initial homeschoolers, the ones that plowed the path for us, were doing so. Her parents went through it all. And it is because of families like hers that we have the homeschooling freedom that we have now. So if you've ever thought, I'm not qualified to teach my children, if you've ever wondered, how do I get them through high school math? Or just if you don't feel that you are educated, this book will remind you that you absolutely can do this, right? I mean, it's in the title. Anyone can homeschool. All right. Number 2 in my list, of course, is Homeschool Bravely by Jamie Erickson. This book, friends, it speaks to your heart. Inside the pages of this book, Jamie tackles the fears that creep in. Fear of socialization issues, fear of failure as a homeschooler, and just plain the fear of doing it wrong. Yet, unlike other books that just kind of dismiss, Jamie addresses these fears head on. She calls homeschool moms to dig deep and find the courage that they have inside them. And so, if February has you doubting yourself, friend, this is a powerful read that I highly encourage you to grab. All right, up next, we have, and I'm sorry about the reflection, we have The Brave Learner by Julie Bogart. Now, this book challenges traditional thinking about education. Okay. Inside the pages of this one, Julie reminds us that learning should be joyful, right? She emphasizes connection, creativity, and curiosity as the foundation of your education. It is a permission giving, freeing read that is the breath of fresh air your homeschool needs, especially if you feel boxed in by to-do lists and checklists, and especially as we're coming to the end of the year, reports and all of that. Up next, number 4, and if I'm going too fast, I do apologize, right? We are trying to keep this short to the point. I know your time is vital, and we are all busy. So up next, we have Dumbing Us Down by John Taylor Gatto. This is the only book in my list that's not written by a homeschooler. This is a thought-provoking read that critiques the traditional school system and forces you to think critically about institutional education. It is not light reading by any stretch of the imagination, friend, but it strengthens you in your conviction, which is something we often need this time of year. Sometimes growing as a homeschool mom means simply understanding what you're choosing not to do and remembering why you're choosing not to do it. It is a short read, but it is a very powerful one. All right, and the last one is Teach by Mr. D. Okay. This book emphasizes leadership in the home and leadership in education. I was actually very privileged to write a full review on this book, so I will link that in the show notes. Um, Inside the pages of Teach, Mr. D reframes education as mentorship and discipleship rather than just information transfer from parent to child, right? If you want to think deeply about your role as not just a teacher, but as a guide to your child's education, this is a powerful and mind-changing book. Okay. Now, friend, this is just the beginning. Like I said, I have a much longer list. And it's not exhaustive, right? My list is only, I think I did my top 17, right? And there are so many more books out there. But if you are looking to build your homeschool reading stack, between that list and the 5 I just went over, you will keep yourself busy. Now, friends, here's the thing. Reading is powerful, and I will always suggest reading over any other type of education, over any curricula, over any program, okay? Because reading is powerful. But reading alone can sometimes feel lonely. So I'd love to invite you to begin reading in community by joining me inside of Hopeful Homeschoolers, where we're going to begin transforming what it means to read and read books. We're going to talk through ideas with other homeschool moms and get other perspectives. We're going to accelerate our growth. And I'd like to invite you to join us. Like I said, there's going to be a link in the show notes. And inside, I want you to find the post where we're going to be talking about our favorite homeschool books, though the books that changed your way of thinking or that helped propel you into this. And perhaps you might even just share what you're currently reading now, because I'm getting to the bottom of my stack and I could totally use another book. And if it impacted your homeschool, it's not just about sharing it with me, it's about sharing it with the community inside of Hopeful Homeschoolers so that we can grow together. Now, speaking of growing together, right? And I know we're coming to the end and your time is short, friend. So if you're multitasking, just come right back. I've got one last growth trick that is not another book, I promise you. Okay. It's happening right now, though. It is a live event called the Life Skills Leadership Summit. And I have a free ticket for you. Okay. It's in the show notes wherever you happen to be watching or listening to this. And your free ticket will get you access to the entire event, even the stuff that happened on Monday, right? There's practical, encouraging information with sessions designed to strengthen you as a leader in your home, right? Remember, homeschooling, it is about leadership. It is about working with our children and guiding them, about shaping people and not just raising children, but raising adults, adults that are the future leaders, right? That have strong character. Because as a homeschooler, you're shaping your children, you're influencing their character, you're training their hearts and preparing them for the largest portion of their life, their adulthood. So you, my friend, need to continue learning. And so that's why I'm so happy to offer you a free ticket so you can keep learning and keep growing. Now, friend, we are in the final week of February, and you don't need a new curriculum to overcome your February slump. You may just need a new perspective. And often that perspective begins with just learning one new thing. And you can learn one new thing inside the pages of a book. So if this episode encouraged you today, I would absolutely be honored if you would consider liking or subscribing, sharing with another homeschooler who is also going to enjoy this episode. And of course, leave a comment, please. Tell me what your favorite homeschool book or author is. And because I would love to hear what has shaped your homeschool journey. Friends, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Hopeful Homeschooling Podcast. I hope you have a wonderful week. And don't forget to tune in next week when we drop a brand new episode.